My name is Sirifin. I'm 68 years old, and I want to tell you something that I kept to myself for a very long time. Not out of shame, but out of a quiet uncertainty about whether anyone would truly understand. Because what I am about to share with you is not something I read in a book or heard at a seminar. It is something I lived, something I discovered in one of the most difficult periods of my life, when I had tried everything I knew how to try and still nothing moved. And the answer, when it finally came, was so humble, so ordinary, so within reach that I almost dismissed it before I gave it a chance. What I placed behind my door changed the energy of my home. And when the energy of my home changed, my financial life began to change with it. I want you to stop for a moment before we go further. I want you to think about the door of your home, not as a piece of wood or metal that keeps the weather out. Think of it as a threshold, a point of transition between the world outside and the world you have built inside. Everything that enters your life, every person, every opportunity, every current of energy passes through that door. It is the first point of contact between your inner world and the outer one. And what you place at that threshold, with what intention you guard that space, matters far more than most people have ever been told. I did not understand this for most of my adult life. There was a period when I was in my mid-40s, a period I remember with the particular clarity that difficult times tend to leave behind. I was working consistently, managing my small household carefully, doing everything that a responsible woman was supposed to do. And yet the money never accumulated. It came in and it went out, and what remained was never quite enough to feel like solid ground beneath my feet. There was always another bill, another unexpected expense, another month that ended with my heart tighter than it began. I was not careless. I was not lazy. I was not unwise with my choices. And that was the most confusing part, because I could not point to an obvious reason for why things felt so stuck. The effort was there, the intention was there, but something was missing, something I couldn't name, something that seemed to exist in the invisible layer just beneath the surface of my daily life. One evening, a woman visited my home for the first time. She was older than me by perhaps 20 years, with the kind of quietness that comes not from shyness, but from having seen enough of life to know that most things don't require hurried words. She walked through my door, stopped in the entrance of my home, and stood there for a moment with an expression I couldn't quite read. Then she looked at me and said something I wasn't prepared for. She said, "Your door is unprotected. The good energy that tries to enter here gets confused. It doesn't know if it's welcome." I didn't know what to say. I looked at my door. It looked perfectly ordinary to me, a door like any other. But she shook her head gently and said, "What you place behind your door is a message to the universe. Right now, that message is silence, and silence invites nothing." I thought about her words for days after that visit. And then, quietly, on an evening when I had no grand expectations and nothing to lose, I decided to try what she had suggested. What she had told me to place behind my door was not elaborate or expensive or difficult to find. It was a combination of things, each one chosen for its energetic quality, each one placed with a clear and honest intention. A small bundle of cinnamon tied simply with a red thread. A single coin placed beneath it facing upward, and a piece of paper on which I had written in my own handwriting with my own words what I was inviting into my life. Not what I was desperately hoping for, not what I feared might never come, but what I was genuinely, calmly, openly inviting. The difference between desperation and invitation is enormous, and I had finally learned to feel that difference in my body before I acted. I placed these things behind my door that evening, not with ceremony or with drama, with presence, with the quiet sincerity of a woman who had stopped performing hope and had decided instead to embody it. And then I went about my life. Let me explain something before I continue, because I think it matters deeply, and I would be doing you a disservice if I skipped over it. The objects I placed behind that door were not magic in themselves. Cinnamon is not a financial miracle. A coin is not an automatic invitation to wealth. A piece of paper with words on it is not a contract with the universe. What made those things powerful was the act of choosing them deliberately, of arranging them with presence, and of allowing that act to shift something inside me. Because here is what I have come to understand after nearly 7 decades of living, observing, failing, recovering, and slowly learning the deeper patterns of how life works. The universe does not respond to what you place on a shelf or behind a door. It responds to the frequency you carry. And the frequency you carry is shaped by your beliefs, your expectations, your relationship with the concept of receiving, and the quality of your attention in any given moment. What placing something meaningful behind your door does, when done with genuine intention, is that it acts as an anchor, a physical reminder to your subconscious mind of what you have decided to welcome. Every time you pass through that door, every time you open it or close it, some part of your awareness registers what is there. And what your awareness registers consistently, it begins to believe. And what it believes, it begins to create. This is not superstition. This is the way the mind works in relationship with its environment. I have spent years watching people try to change their financial lives through effort alone, through planning alone, through willpower alone. And effort matters, planning matters, willpower matters. But when these things are not supported by an inner environment that genuinely believes in the possibility of abundance, they produce limited results. Because you can work as hard as you like toward a goal that part of you deeply believes is not available to you, and that deeper belief will quietly, consistently undermine every step you take. What placing something behind your door with true intention does is begin to address that inner environment. It begins to say, in a language that your subconscious understands more readily than rational argument, that you are open, that you are ready, that you are no longer standing at the threshold of your own life with your arms crossed and your heart closed, braced against disappointment. You are opening the door in every sense of that phrase. After I place those things behind my door, I notice the first change not in my bank account, but in myself. I notice that I walk through that entrance differently, with a slightly different quality of attention, a slightly different relationship with the possibility of what the day might bring. I was not walking through my own home as if bracing for the inevitable disappointment. I was walking through it as someone who had made a choice about what she was welcoming. That shift, subtle as it sounds, changed the quality of my decisions in the days that followed. I reached out to someone I had been hesitating to contact about a work possibility. I said yes to an invitation I would normally have declined out of a vague, habitual caution. I made a financial decision from a place of quiet confidence rather than anxious calculation. And the results of those decisions began to accumulate, not dramatically, not all at once, but with a steadiness that felt different from anything I had experienced before. Within a month, my financial situation had shifted in 3 specific ways that I had not engineered or forced. A debt that had seemed immovable found a resolution. An unexpected opportunity arrived through a connection I had almost not made. And a long-standing tension in my relationship with money, that tight, fearful relationship I had carried for so long without even knowing how heavy it was, began to ease. I am not telling you that a bundle of cinnamon and a coin performed these changes. I am telling you that the act of placing them with genuine presence and genuine intention was the moment I stopped being at war with the possibility of abundance. And when I stopped being at war with it, it stopped avoiding me. Let me tell you exactly what you can do, because I believe you deserve specificity and not just inspiration. If you feel called to try this, choose something that carries meaning for you. It does not have to be cinnamon. It does not have to be a coin. What matters is that you choose something that represents in your own understanding the energy of welcome, of invitation, of abundance freely received. In many traditions, cinnamon is used because its warmth is associated with the energy of prosperity, and because its scent is one that the body instinctively associates with comfort and nourishment. A coin is used because it is the most literal symbol of the financial energy you are inviting. But these are suggestions, not requirements. What is required, the only thing that is truly required, is that you place whatever you choose with complete presence. Not while distracted, not while hurried, not while doubting, but in a moment of genuine stillness, with your full attention on the act and its meaning. Before you place it, take 3 real breaths. Feel your feet on the floor. Feel the weight of your body. And then, in your own words, either spoken aloud or felt silently in your chest, state clearly what you are inviting. Not what you are desperately begging for, not what you are afraid might never come, what you are opening yourself to receive. There is a profound difference between those two things. Begging comes from the frequency of lack. Inviting comes from the frequency of expectation. And the universe, in my long experience, responds to frequency more than to words. After you have placed it, let it be. Don't check it anxiously. Don't hover over it. Don't demand results on a timeline. Simply allow your awareness to register it each time you pass through that door. Allow it to remind you each time of the decision you made. The decision to be open. The decision to receive. And then pay attention to the subtle shifts, not only in your finances, but in your inner state, in the quality of your decisions, in your willingness to take the steps that lead toward what you are calling in. Because abundance never arrives without your own movement toward it. It meets you, but you have to be walking in its direction. I want to say one more thing before I close, because it is perhaps the most important thing I can offer you. The door of your home is not the only door that matters. There is another door, the one inside you, the one that you open or close each day without even realizing it, the door of your own willingness to receive, the door of your belief that you are worthy of a life that is not defined by constant struggle and insufficiency. That inner door is where the real work happens. And placing something beautiful and intentional behind your physical door is a way of practicing in the physical world the opening of that inner one. If something in what I have shared today has felt true to you, if something has resonated in a place that goes deeper than your rational mind, I want to invite you to stay in this space. Come back when you need to be reminded of what is possible. Subscribe and walk with me through these reflections, because I have many more truths to share with you, gathered slowly over a lifetime of living, losing, finding, and learning to receive what was always available. Tonight, when you come home, stand at your door for just a moment before you open it. Feel the threshold beneath your feet and ask yourself, quietly and honestly, what energy have I been guarding this entrance with? Is it the energy of someone who expects good things to enter? Or the energy of someone who is simply waiting for the next difficulty? You have the power to change that answer, starting tonight, starting with a single sincere, deliberate act of opening. Go gently, go with intention, and trust that what you welcome with a full heart will find its way through.